You think you are loved because people keep coming back to you. No, baby. Sometimes they keep coming back because you make their life easier. They know you will answer, they know you will forgive, you will help, you will understand, you will always be available. That's not always love. Sometimes you are just convenient. I think one of the hardest things to discover is that being needed is not always the same as being loved. Sometimes people love what you do for them. They love your availability, they love your kindness, they love your patience, they love the way you always show up. They love how easy you make their lives. And because they keep coming back, you assume they must truly value you. But then something happens. You stop giving as much. You stop being available all the time. You start setting boundaries. You start saying no. And suddenly, the relationship feels different. That's when you begin to ask yourself, did they actually love me? Or did they just love having access to me? I think sometimes we all need to look at our relationships honestly. When someone loves you, they care about who you are, not just what you provide. They want to know how you are doing. They care when you are struggling. They respect your boundaries. They don't disappear just because you can't help them. They don't only call when they need something. They don't only remember you when they are lonely, broke, confused, or in trouble. They value your presence when you have nothing to offer. But when you are simply convenient, the relationship often depends on what you can provide: your time, your money, your advice, your attention, your connections, your emotional support, your ability to always make things easier. And the moment you can't provide those things, their interests begin to disappear. That's when you see the difference. Being loved feels mutual. Being convenient feels one sided. When you are loved, someone asks, how can I support you? When you are convenient, they ask, how or what can I do for you? When you are loved, your absence is felt because you are. When you are convenient, your absence is felt because something they needed is now missing. And those two things can look very similar until you stop giving. This is why sometimes you have to stop overextending yourself, not to test people, not to manipulate anyone, but because you need to know whether the relationship can survive without you constantly carrying it. Stop always being the one who calls first. Stop always solving every problem. Stop always making yourself available. Stop giving what you don't have and pay attention. Who still checks on you will still make time for you. Who still wants to hear from you will still care about your life when you have nothing to offer. Those are the people you should pay attention to because love does not disappear the moment you are no longer useful. And I think this is where many people get hurt. They spend years believing they are loved because they are always needed. They are the strong friend, the dependable sister, the helpful partner, the person everyone calls. But when they finally become tired and need someone to show up for them, there is nobody there. And that is when the truth becomes painful. They were not surrounded by people who love them. They were surrounded by people who replied, or let me say, who relied on them. And there is a huge difference. You can be loved without being useful. You can be cared for without constantly giving, okay? Without constantly giving. You can have a place in someone's life without earning it every day through sacrifice. The right people won't only appreciate what you do, they will appreciate who you are. They won't make you feel guilty when you can't help. They won't push you for having limits. They won't make you feel replaceable because you finally choose to rest. They will understand that you are a person, not a resource. And that's the kind of relationship we should all desire. A relationship where you don't have to perform to be valued, where you don't have to constantly prove your worth, where you can simply exist and still feel loved. Because the moment you realize that someone only values you when you are useful, you have a decision to make. You can keep performing for their love, or you can step back and see what remains when you stop performing. And sometimes what remains is a genuine relationship, and sometimes nothing remains. And as Painful as that may be, it's better to know the truth than to spend years being loved only for what you provide.